Hi everyone, this is Dr. Traci K. I love you in this place. I am so excited to have you here for the Holy Week. We're going to be discussing a lot of fun stuff during the Holy Week, like Holy Monday, Holy Tuesday, Holy Wednesday, and Friday, Thursday. We'll be doing some rituals and events and discussing a spiritual vibe message. And it's based, of course, on my new book series, The Ashes to Beauty, Healing the Soul of a Woman. But we also have the Heavenly Crowns, which is for everyone. So invite a friend. Come on in if you need prayer requests or spiritual support. We are glad to have you. So come on in. I love you in this place, and I'll see you there, okay? Enjoy your spiritual vibe message. Welcome everyone. Love you in this place. So good to have you come and share your practice with me. I'm Dr. Traci K, your host and the author of the Ashes to Beauty book series. And this is Holy Week. And every day of the week we're having a spiritual vibe message and some fun things, including gift offers. And if you haven't already checked out our groups on Facebook, we have Facebook groups with Ashes to Beauty books and our Spiritual Vibration Challenge group for spiritual support, which is facebook.com/group/spiritual vibration challenge. You can also listen to me on Spotify and Anchor and all the radio shows out there, and you can also subscribe to my YouTube channel, Dr. Traci K with an I. But today we're talking about Holy Monday. This is the Holy Week, so this is about getting to know Jesus Christ and how he took that journey to sacrificial triumph and holiness to allow us to be forgiven of our sins and to understand and be celebrating this rise of the ashes to beauty and be thankful. What is Holy Monday? Holy Monday is about it's kind of how do I put this? The history of a Holy Monday. It's observed annually, and this year in the first week of April, it is about commemorates Jesus' life, faith, and the events leading up to his death and the eventual resurrection. And according to the good book, Holy Monday is a day after Jesus was greeted with the palm leaves, which is, if you haven't watched the medical message on Palm Sunday, Come to Triumph, you can go and check that out on YouTube also. But this is the day also before Judas decided to betray him. The holiday is the beginning of a Holy Week preparation. A lot of people, if you're a spiritual practitioner, we fast. We fast on this day and cleanse, detox. You can still kind of basically, it doesn't mean you don't have to abstain from eating altogether, but you have to be really small portions on your meal is also a sacrifice. It's good to abstain from social media. A lot of people times this time on reading spiritual motivational books or scriptures. It's supposed to be meditate and pray, enjoy a serene and peaceful day. It's about the modern sacrifice of today is turn off your phone, try to connect with family, and do stuff around your home. It's a global holiday, and what we're going to talk about in this message today is no turning back. And this is the fig tree symbolism. The fig tree symbolizes the power of faith is stronger than outward. And this is where Jesus comes in and cleared the temple for Holy Monday because it was a den of thieves. It's a time to reflect and move forward. It's a time of the year to check your mental and your spiritual health. It's a good time to cook at home or meet with family, visit family, enjoy some good food or bond with each other. It regulates your faith, basically, in your connection. And I want to discuss the events on how there's no turning back. And what I mean by is, this is where after he comes to Jerusalem, at about 6:30 a.m., the small village on the southeast of slope of Mount Olives, which is just a mile half east of Jerusalem. We talked about this. The Jesus of Nazareth is humble as his friends, Martha, whose anxiety-driven hospitality had received his gentle rebuke. Mary, who chose the good portion, and of course the Lazarus, whose body would still be in the grave apart from the wonders of working of Christ of rising him. So, it's the first day of the last week of his life, of Jesus' human life, where he made this triumphal entry, riding on that donkey. It's the royal red carpet, basically. Now, Jesus knew the heart of the man, which is in John. You can look at your scripture, John chapter 2, 24 to 45. And he knew the acclaim of the disciples and the crowd was built on their own imagination. And we have to discuss why Jesus gathered in the meeting place. His agenda was the same as it rained. He strips away misunderstanding. What he was going through is to accomplish what our expectations can be founded. Mild Monday is another thing. Jesus was about to show them that judgment begins at home. As they walked together over the rocky terrain of Mount of Olives, and as the hunger in Jesus' stomach grew, he spotted a fig tree off in the distance. From external appearances, it looked very healthy, this fig tree. The perfect place to grab some fruit and to meet his need. But on a closer inspection of this tree, the tree was barren of fruit, with nothing on it but inedible leaves. The disciples could not have expected what Jesus did next. He called down a curse on this fig tree, declaring that it would never bear fruit again, which is so sad. This is in Matthew 21, 18 to 19. You could also find resource in Mark chapter 11, 12 to 14. Jesus would expound on this visual parable tomorrow, but his disciples were viewing the tree through spiritual eyes. They would remember that in the Old Testament, the old Israel was often referred to as a fig tree. You can find that resource in Jeremiah chapter 8, 13, Hosea chapter 9, 10, and 16. You can also find it in Joel chapter 1. He takes and cleanses the temple. Again, we talked about as they continue to walking, the disciples undoubtedly unnerved by his unexpected behavior. But Jesus was just beginning. When Jesus entered the Temple Mount later that day, he was surrounded by pious Jews who had made the pilgrimage to Jerusalem for Passover. Jerusalem. Not only would they have to pay the temple tax, but they would also have to purchase an unblemished sacrificial animal in the court of the Gentiles. Jesus looked at the money changers and the merchants. A holy zeal, that's with a Z, and righteous indignation welled up within him. They were turning his Father's house of prayer for the nations, which is in Isaiah 56, into a den of thieves to prey upon the poor, Passover pilgrims, and to pervert true worship. Jesus actually shows anger, and an actual physically shown an outburst. He is so angered by this that he begins to turn over the tables and the chairs of these money changers and cursing and throwing them out, all the merchants and their scurrying customers, refusing entrance to any who carry goods for sale. It's interesting, isn't it? So there's no turning back here. From this perspective of the priests and the scribes and Jewish leaders, it was one thing for this teacher from the backwaters of Nazareth, the bottom like deal, to share his journeys and make his claims and do his miracles with his followers. But now he's inside this holy city, claiming and dominion over this temple. He has the audacity to declare that the temple in essence belongs to him and his Father. So excuse me, right? Who is he suggest that the Jewish system was enabling sin rather than worship? And how dare he argue that the Jewish authorities were ignorant in true godliness and pity? From this point forward, there would be no turning back. Jesus is not shrinking during this time. You think Jesus was so weak and whatever. Jesus during this Holy Week was very gung-ho. He was putting his foot down and standing up. Now, he knew this would probably accelerate to his death because in fact, it was a sentence of God coming forward. When this evening approaches, the sun sets around 7 p.m. during that time on the Jewish calendar. Jesus' disciples make their return to Bethany. And the new day is to confound and turn things upside down. And Jesus continues to fulfill that eternal plan that will take him to Calvary. And so, this right here shows there's no turning back. It's about understanding this fig tree testifying, cursing, and the coming back, so to speak. And when the cursing of the fig tree, it teaches that there's no turning back now. It teaches that you must bear fruit. Bearing fruit, or we will wither and die. And that we have no excuse for our lack of fruit. Faith comes from obedience. And so, when it talks of this in Matthew chapter 21, if you believe and you shall ask in prayer, believing you shall receive. And when he came into the temples that time, he claimed it. He claimed it. Yes, can I get some claim it hearts? Yes, so good. He took the authority back for his Father. And the kingdom back in royalty. And this was something that you need to see on how to understand what it means when you're dealing with bearing fruit. Bearing fruit is all part of this. There's no turning back on this. He knew this would be something that would cause him crowned in a different way. And this is the outcome. They became so enraged. The householder which planted a vineyard hedged it around about and digged a winepress in it, built a tower, and let all husbandmen and went into far. Time of the fruit drew near. He sent his servants that they might receive the fruits of it. And the husbandmen men took his servants and beat one and killed another and stoned another. Again, he sent other servants more than first, and he did this likewise. For you shall receive, when there's no turning back, when you start to be saved, in a sense. This is your heir. This is your inheritance. Come and envelop and claim that inheritance. Let us seize on his inheritance. The Lord be therefore to rise up and to take back what is truly belongs to his Father. This is so interesting because when we understand about how this teaches a powerful lesson of spiritual fruit. It's about understanding how to bear fruit. The fig tree. Fig tree is a big... Have you anybody had any figs before? I'm not a big fan of figs. Have you ever had figs? So, what this cursing of is that we need to recognize that once we develop our spiritual practice, we need to embrace that. And there's no turning back. You might have these days, and we're all sinners, we make mistakes, we're not going to be perfect, but you can come back to the understanding and returning to what's in your heart. Understanding to prepare and fully understand that it is time to take those old ways, old things, and curse it, to break free, move away, and burn it to ashes, and then work on rising up from those ashes to become a beauty. And this is part of a cleansing process. It's a parable. And understanding about the Holy Spirit, taking time to meditate, breathe in, and remember what is that your soul has been honored with. And the granting and being thankful of the soul and feed the soul so that it can bear fruit into your physical realm and in your earthly ways. And practicing, understanding that it is a time to let go, it's time to renew, it's time to fast, it's time to detox, it's time to clean out, air out, and move forward and spring forward into a new beginning. And don't look back. There's no turning back. Don't look back. Because if you don't, as this powerful message is, you will wither away like that and bear inedible types of fruit. You don't want to bear inedible fruit. You want your fruit to flourish. You want to be able to feed your soul with promise and grace and performance. And this is the marking of what God's judgment is on your prosperity. Fig trees can be about 20 feet high, and they're great shades. But it's about prosperity also in your life. Manifesting by cleansing, clearing, cursing, and removing all the dead, unedible leaves off of your physical body, and feed your spirit in a wonderful way to rise up and level up so that you may be able to move forward in the prosperity of your life and bear a fruit that He is going to give you in triumphant ways. And keep that in mind, that Jesus came as a king. Okay? And so, as you claim this inheritance, you are again and again getting the promises that He promised by this sacrificial journey of the Holy Week. And He said, because during that time, the Pontius Pilate, whatever, if you don't know this, did you know that it was not actually the Romans that wanted to crucify Jesus? Actually left it up to the Jewish leaders, high priest leaders. They actually are the ones that did that, His own people. It was a dramatic scene during that cleansing of the temple and the cursing of the fig tree. And this is all what's happening in the start of His journey on the Holy Week. And He began understanding the spiritual battle. Wasn't about the basic of political. It's about a bigger picture, conquering the bad, the evil, and claiming back with His Father and the Lord, the Kings of Kings and Lords of Lords, back to the original owners. And so that they can come to be mindful and grow. And so fig trees are very common to be part of the world. They even today put their leaves on it because only in April you can see blooming in the fig trees. If you take a look and find a fig tree, if you know what a fig tree looks like, because they only bloom twice a year. The early fruit doesn't come until May or June. So for a fig tree to have leaves in April was very uncommon. And because everything blooms early in the spring, the sun is so constant in trying to push out. So it just happens that in April, fig trees bloom and bear fruit. Isn't this amazing? Because the Lord is His hunger. He sees His fig tree along the way. It wasn't invading someone's private property or private orchard. It was on the roadside. It was public. And He discovered that it only had leaves. He was attracted to those leaves. What are you attracted to in Jesus, that Jesus Christ would attract you in your life? So you can understand the background. Palestine was the land of fig trees back then. And it was also a land of wheat, a land of barley. Israel is a very fruitful, holy land. It has the most bearing of fruit and vegetables. Their export trade is huge. One thing they definitely have got, and the symbol of that fig tree is a symbol of prosperity and the wealth and the richness of the land agriculturally. So the presence of fig trees is a mark of prosperity of the land. The absence of fig trees marks a judgment of the land. So today, there aren't surely nearly the fig trees that once were. They've had to be replanted. Yet the land was demoted and stripped and naked. I mean, This is the restoration project. So the period of Israel's history is made law, but every man would be taxed according to the number of trees he had on his land. So everybody went out and cut all down their trees because they didn't want to pay the taxes. That is a symbol of the absence now by making a mark of God's judgment and prosperity. You can find this information all in the scriptures we showed to you. And so now here's the cleansing part. So again, let's all come together with our hands in prayer mode. Lift your hands up, breathe in, reach up with your hands in prayer mode to heart center. Oh, you are the fig tree. You are amazingly bearing leaves of fruit. You're springing today in April of the Holy Land, Holy Week, and bringing it to you. You are prosperity and wealth. I see things for you. All that's listening to this, all that's watching this, you will bear a fruit and bloom and see all this prosperity in May and June. Breathe that in, and if you want to receive that, I declare to receive that. You will now lift your hands up to your forehead. You will shine your light and love and spread the word and honor and vow to claim it. Thank you so much. Enjoy your Holy Monday.